Hi everybody! So let's close the Enneagram rows with Enneagram 5. As far as I have seen up to now, except those that I identified as being actually 5s, there is a little bit of confusion on this type. They are called the scholars and the observers, and that's because they tend to withdraw, and while withdrawing they study a lot. But that's not the core of the Enneagram. Also, 9s can have that pattern. Also, 1s can have that pattern. Also, 4s can have that pattern. 6s can have that pattern. And 8s can have that pattern when they're disintegrating. So that's not the most important thing to say about 5s. They are very, very closed up and reserved people. When they were children, they felt intruded, and they felt like their privacy was stolen from them. Therefore, they develop a strategy of withdrawal to protect themselves from the external world, and they build this sort of castle where they are protected within the walls. The external world is considered intrusive and a danger, and therefore they live a very isolated life. They tend to close themselves up. What I like to say about Enneagram 5s is that if I will ever have one around me, I will sure build uh, an underground location with all the comfort possible for them for this Enneagram 5 to withdraw and hide, so that they don't see the dangers outside. That's me being silly. They prefer not to get involved, and that's why they're considered the observers. They are vulnerable to the situations in which they needed to come to light, in which they have to show vulnerability. They detach from their emotions completely. They kind of have this internal wall. It's not like the Enneagram 1, it's something else. They feel their emotions, but with a distance. They have this detachment from emotions. And looking at them from the distance, they react thinking that everything that is painful must be abandoned. This means that during a fight, Enneagram 5 will become a chameleon and mix with the wallpaper. They hide, they run away, this while they are entranced, of course. They will hide, they will run away, they will not want to face issues. They have the instinct to pull away the attention from the emotional life. Like I said, they build this kind of internal wall between them and their emotions, and they always look at them from the distance so they can turn their face away from their emotions. Their love for privacy becomes a love for isolation, and they tend to withdraw completely. They prefer independence to satisfaction. And that's because they fear that their desire can actually make them dependent from others. Therefore, they are very, very extremely attached to the little that they have. They are attracted to models and systems that explain human behavior. Now, thinking of Enneagram 5 as extremely isolated, I have an example in mind, and it's a child that used to go to the elementary school with me. At some point, I will tell you something about that. So we were saying that Enneagram 5 is attracted to the systems that explain human personality. We're talking in particular about typology, not necessarily typology, but also trait theories, psychiatry, psychology, Enneagram, anything that explains human behavior, because through the study of these things, they learn a mental system and they build a mental system of the dynamics of interaction between people, and they can mimic them. So they say, most Enneagram 5s say that they are in touch with their feelings only when they are on their own. Therefore, also a very short meeting is extremely important to an Enneagram 5 and very intense, and they will leave it afterwards. So basically, they meet with you, they're out with you, eating an ice cream, you're living in the moment, you're having everything, and you're living everything on the spot. You're hyper emotional, your Enneagram 5 is going to be detached and is going to withdraw afterwards, leaving everything that they have done with you. Their life is built according to blocks. They divide everything into blocks. So basically, their life is their life. You are in one of the blocks that revolve around their life. So if you're a friend, you're going to be in the block of friends. You're going to be in a very specific block of your own, and you're going to interact with other friends only according to how far you are from that friend within the box of friends. Friends will likely very rarely or never meet the significant other, because the significant other belongs in a different little box. This still when they're entranced. Being very, very attached to what they have, to the little they have, they tend to hyper romanticize, meaning that when they're in love with a woman or with a man, that person tends to be their whole world. And their world revolves around that person pretty much. So they kind of build this idea of castle, and within the castle, they live alone with their princess or prince. They stress at 7. When they start being hyperactive, they start collecting information like crazy, they start doing things continuously, they are stressing. Whereas they relax at 8. When they become self-confident, decisive, assertive, and they start opening their minds to the external world. When the Enneagram 5 starts opening up to the external world, the Enneagram 5 is integrating and going in the direction of 8. What health problems does our Enneagram 5 meet? Anemia, for example, because they are used to living with so little that their blood doesn't produce as much as everybody else's. Distant sight issues, because observing makes this sight tired. And listening issues. So they either listen too carefully to the external environment to perceive threats, or they do not listen at all, not to hear it, and that can bring to hearing issues. And the lungs we've seen in other anagrams, if I don't go wrong. Anyway, the lungs are connected to the breathing, to the chakra that is located around here. And that chakra is actually the chakra of words unsaid. So when you detach from emotions, when you take a distance from your own emotions, you automatically do not say stuff that needs to be said. And that can give issues to the lungs and the breathing ways. So a brief example of an Enneagram 5, since we said that they live in deprivation. A brief example of an Enneagram 5 is my friend from infancy. When we reached teenage years, this friend started saying that he only needed a bike in his life. Everything he needed was a bike, and that's because the bike will never ask you to pay food for the child. That's the idea of an Enneagram 5, being afraid of the external environment. An Enneagram 5 integrated looks pretty much like an 8. This is all I have to say about Enneagram 5. I like Enneagram 5 a lot. I think it shows. I think I will close it here, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.